What's up, guys? It's Goose from the Wise Wealth Discord coming at you with, I guess it's a Monday watch list since it's Monday morning at 7 a.m. Got about 30 minutes until the market opens. Pretty excited for this week ahead. Just wanted to dive into the charts for you guys a little bit, see what we're looking at. Oh, shit. Um, why does Google Chrome look all weird? Usually, there it is. I was gonna say it usually has my trading view already. So I don't usually start off with Baba. I've just been looking at Babas as they're at a pretty good buy point. I'll go over it a little bit later. But Spy, they're starting to look relatively weak. The head and shoulders is kind of playing out. It was denied right about the neckline again. So if that continues to play out, like I said, I still like the 415, 420 buy area. It's at about 420 right now, a little bit below right now in pre-market. So it looks like we might have a red open. Um, we will see how that plays out. Jimmy said last week that I forgot what it was. It's like 13 consecutive or something like that. Mondays have been green for like broad-based indexes like SPY, QQQ, the Dow Jones, stuff to that nature. I thought that was a pretty crazy stat because it's like you kind of realize some things, but you don't really like keep track of the stats like that. But after like 13 days, 13 weeks in a row or whatever it was, it's just kind of insane that like it happens that often and people are still, shorting it on Mondays and stuff to that nature when you have stats to back it up. But we'll see. It could be our first big loss. As you can see, we had this triangle pattern last week and it fell below. So now things are starting to look bearish. I still do think there's a solid support here at 415.20. So if we do get down to that point, I wouldn't be probably closing shorts until proven otherwise that it's broken through. But right now things are definitely starting to look bearish. We tried to make a higher high here, which technically did. So it's like if we can catch ourselves here to make a higher low and then go make a higher high, I think that would be good for the year's end. Some good technical analysis. The Qs, I still have them kind of in this little bull flag formation. So like when it got up to here, that's when I started saying I was going to start shorting. I actually got tricked out. I started going long here, so I got burned on this big sell-off. But I did end up catching some good shorts last week towards the end of the week. It was just bleeding everywhere. But I still see this flag playing out, so if it does come here to create a lower low, I could see it possibly coming to retest like the 345 area, 350 area, somewhere around here to make a lower low, and then hopefully bounce off of this, and then maybe by the year's end I remember talking to Jimmy last week, and that was kind of my thesis that this is going to create a new lower low. And then towards the end of the year, like I would say, start in November, middle of November, that's when we could start to see it try break out of this pennant. But right now, it's still a bullish formation. Short term, it may be a little bit bearish because this bearish engulfing candle that we had on the weekly. But after it's all said and done, if it is bought up around this point, I mean, it's still kind of in a bullish formation in the overall trend. So we'll see what it looks like this week. That is a nasty bearish engulfing. We're down 0.32% right now. SPY's down 0.36%. We're set to open in 26 minutes, so we could finally have a red Monday. We'll see, but I do think things are starting to get a little bit oversold. We'll just have to wait and see if we do have a technical bounce. I mean, the market can remain irrational longer than you could remain solvent, something like that. So it's like you may think that, oh, it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks of selling, now it's time to buy. It's like you never really know. You just keep going and keep going until you're out of fucking money. We got the dollar index here, as you can see, as we've been kind of bleeding. The dollar's been kind of soaring up. We had a good uptrend going. It looks like it was denied, but now, like in the short term, we have like a little flag going on. So it's like just consolidating. It's not really going down or anything to that nature. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the dollar, see if it could break out up or down. Personally, I want the market to go up. I don't really have many calls, but I do think the setups and stuff are just a lot easier when the market goes up. You could play both sides, as we always say. Bitcoin, I brought that up. They're having a pretty good move here from like the 26,000 range. It's going to create a higher high here, so let's see if we can create a higher low. I think it kind of looks like a little W shape, but I do technically like the W shapes. I just gotta find where the here it is. Use the path. So I like the W-shaped formations. What you do need is a break above this neckline. Oh, so this right here at 31,000 it looks like. About 31,000. If it could break above that, that's what looks pretty bullish in a W-shaped formation. It's like a neckline in head and shoulders pretty much. Is like once it breaks through the neckline, then it's giving you great confluence. And the next point of resistance would be about 34 or 35,000 is because that's where that previous support was. So Bitcoin's moving its way up. I mean, it was at 16,000, last November. So in a year, it's gained a pretty good amount after selling off so greatly. So as always, just wait and see what happens. Apple, they fell out of their range that they were trying to hold. Technically, as you can see right here, this candle is could be kind of a support, and that's still what it's in. So I'm not sure. I still haven't really thought Apple looks very clean, but this break of the trend here doesn't really seem like it's been super strong since then. They've had like a lot of China regulations and all this crap. I know I saw a news article a few weeks ago. It said that Tim Cook flew to China because of some like problems that were happening, and that's their biggest supplier, that's their biggest manufacturer, that's one of their biggest customers. So having Tim Cook fly out there, there must have been something serious going on for him to want to go out there. But I haven't really been trading Apple. It's just been it just moves differently than any other like stock. Like you could have stocks like Tesla and stuff down 10%, and Apple would be up like a quarter of a percent because it's just everyone's baby. It's one of the largest held stocks in hedge funds. So I don't know. That's just something I don't trade very often unless it looks good. We have Microsoft here. This one started to look bearish. I remember saying last week it could possibly come up and retest that. That's exactly what it did. It just kept getting denied, denied, denied. But then you have this bearish engulfing where it takes out all these candles and it breaks below this little trend that it had here. Because we're on the daily right now. So if I switch this to like the 1 hour, you could start to see that it had like a little, consolidation period, but now it's breaking below and it's turning this into resistance. And now it has potential to continue to go lower because of that huge denial. So we'll see. Nvidia, that was the one I banked on pretty hard last week. I had posted a possible head and shoulders here. It was right about the top of this. I have it right here actually. So you got the left shoulder right here, you got the head, and then you have the right shoulder right here. And I was saying in Discord, you got about the 420 area, it looked like, was like the neckline relatively. And it did break below that. Now it's like literally right at the neckline. I know the head and shoulders kind of messed up, but 415, 430 area, or 415, 410 area is the neckline. So if it goes below where it's at right now, like 412, you could definitely start to see it possibly get close to this gap fill. The next support would obviously be around 375. If that's broken, then you could start to think, maybe 300s. But this is one stock that was going crazy this whole year just because of the AI hype and all of that stuff. But their earnings have backed it up. So it's like you can't really, say anything if they're projecting these crazy earnings and they continue to beat. That's part of the reason their stock is continuing to go crazy. But this is also a head and shoulders is a good topping pattern. when things start to get toppy feel and they start to like die off, Head and Shoulders is a beautiful thing to see. So I'm glad that I caught it. I played it correctly. I didn't quite hold on as long as I should have. I sold after that first drop when it was down like 8%. It continued to keep going down, but I just like to take profits. I don't like to like hold and hope, for more and more because I've been burned a lot doing that. But yeah, there's possible Head and Shoulders on the video. We'll just wait and see if this neckline is broken or if support's found and it just continues to consolidate. Meta, they did have a nice retest here, and I was preaching calls last week because they found a new support. They kept going up, but the overall market's just starting to turn bearish, and as you can see, it tried to gain back that support, and now it's resistant. So you can continue to possibly see downside. I'm kind of just both this week, bearish and bullish, because like I said, I think the market's a little oversold, but at the same time, I do think there's like a could be a technical bounce coming, but you have to think like the market can remain, irrational longer than you could stay solvent. So it could continue to go down this week. I don't know. I know there's some bearish setups like these being denied and stuff to that nature. So playing technical analysis is definitely more of a bearish thing going on. You have Tesla. They finally broke out of this huge range that I've been posting for weeks now. So that's a very bearish thing out of Tesla here is they've had this huge, kind of I don't know exactly what to call it, but symmetrical triangle, something like that, to where it's just coiling up and breaking out on the downside is definitely not good. The short sellers are gonna love that. Right now they are at their support level though. If we were to have one, because we had resistance here, and then we found support there, right around where that trend line was. It did break the ultimate uptrend, but if we were to bounce, it would probably go up to it, 248, 250, and then get denied again. So we'll see what Tesla does this week. They had an awful week because of their earnings that they had last week. They missed on both fronts, I believe. I don't know exactly what the number was, but you could see that weekly candle right there. Just absolutely destroyed. They were at 257, ended the week at 210. It's almost a 20% drop in 1 week. Short sellers are probably pretty happy, but we'll see if Tesla can start to pick it up or if this is, a means to a pretty mean downtrend like some of these that Tesla's been through before. I I might start accumulating shares again. Tesla was one of my first holdings that I had, and it did change my life. Back in like 2017, 2018, I was buying, but I sold near the top. I was somewhere around here selling. I don't know what made me so smart about that, but with these type of dips, if it continues to keep dipping, gets anywhere close to 100, I think that's a buy. That's just my opinion. I do think Tesla's a great long-term investment, but that's just me saying that. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this should be taken as financial advice. I'm just kind of giving my 2 cents out here. We got Alphabet, Google, same kind of thing. Let me change this to like the 4 hour. Broke below the trend. Um, so that'll be something to watch. Just like Apple, like these major trends that are happening, a lot of big tech is starting to break below them now when they were holding them. So that's a bearish thing. Possible retest, the 140 area, 138, and get denied by the trend line that it had going. But lots of these things are starting to show bearish setups. Amazon doesn't look terrible. Honestly, I feel like it's been kind of holding up better than a lot of stocks, but there's still a decent amount of support around the 123.50 area. That's right about where it's at now. It's 124.29. So we'll see, man. I don't know. Like things definitely starting to look bearish, but something tells me they're gonna hit the reverse button here in like a week. Like we might have another bloody week this week, but after that, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Maybe we're in the middle of a crash. Who knows? UPS did lose a big support area they've been preaching. This green and this blue line, these are places where I thought would be an instant buy, but they're starting to lose it. And this coil up action was for a very long time. We're talking 2 years, 2021. So this is big. If they don't reclaim it fast, this could easily continue to drop because they had this coil up action for a long time. But the bigger the coil, the bigger the move. And that's kind of how I felt about it with Tesla. Is like this coil was since 2021, so almost 2 years of it just kind of consolidating. So if it breaks out, usually the move is pretty big. So if that dip does come, that's what I'll be buying personally. UPS, I can only buy the stock, but I get like a 5% discount through UPS if I go through them. So I wouldn't buy it like Robinhood or anything like that. But yeah, they're starting to drop a little bit. Um, Check out DraftKings. Oh, as you can see, it has that trend line trying to hold it, denied, and it broke below its little consolidation. I'm on the daily, so these are long trends that we're seeing. I like to sometimes, if you're going to trade, break it down to like the 1 hour to start seeing a little bit more noise. But it looks like it was trying to find support here, and then it was denied. One touch, two touch, almost three, but three, four touches. Broke, retested it, denied again. So things do look bearish. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. The one thing I do have calls on, it's not Netflix. Not Netflix. I do need to show it just because of the earnings gap they had. But Jimmy always breaches the earning gaps because they tend to consolidate right after. Let me get rid of this line. They tend to consolidate after. So she said one of the best plays is watching the consolidation play out. So this right here is just all sideways action. We'll see how long it stays, but once it breaks up or down, we'd have a pretty good play there. But I think Netflix had good earnings. It says right here, surprise, 6.93% higher revenue. Yeah, so they beat on revenue and earnings, and yeah, so it's good. Netflix had good earnings. They gapped up. They were getting extremely oversold. They were definitely due for like a technical bounce at some point. That falling wedge was just looking really ugly. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those ugly charts. I try to stay away from things that are like not as like readable. But who knows? Next point of resistance would be about 447, 448. That was definitely a really tough point for it to get above. Once it did break below, it hasn't really quite seen it again. So if it does continue to go up and it breaks out of that consolidation pattern, we could possibly see the 440, 430 area start to retest its next resistance. And of course, it's green. That's what good earnings does for you. All these stocks are red right now, but Netflix is green. Getting to the one that I do have calls on, Alibaba. I might sound crazy because it's a Chinese stock. I just feel like they're at like max. They're at max bad news. Their real estate market crashed. Everyone, I feel like capitulation kind of incurred, and my confluence with it is this trend line. I think it's kind of. I like looking at it from the weekly standpoint. Is it feels like it's consolidating to try and like carve out that bottom, and seeing this, it's like multiple times. One touch, two touch, three touch, four touch, five touch, six touch. About six, 7 times this has been touched and it's been held as a good support. So that's part of the reason I'm starting to buy calls here is because I could see it start to inch up. It may get denied up here, but going up that high is still like a 20% move. So I'm starting to buy calls for around December 1st. So I'm giving it some time because I know Chinese stocks, I mean, they tend to struggle. As you can see, they're down 0.43%, so I might be down a little bit when market opens, but it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, that's just my play. I don't know. I don't really. Chinese stocks can be sketchy just because of how their government works. They're always, but they're at max pain right now for financial losses and stuff. And I think Alibaba. I mean, let me go to their 4 hours so you can look at their earnings down here. They're pretty much always beat on earnings, even when the Chinese empire is freaking collapsing. They're still beating on earnings. They're still beating. And so it's like, to me, I think Alibaba is a great buy at these prices. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but these would be the type of prices that you want to buy at on companies that are good. And Chinese government, yes, is one thing because you don't really know what's going to happen, how they're going to react, what they're going to say. But when it comes to value in a good company, this would be my stock. This is be, and it's like I'm slightly biased, yes, because I have quite a bit of shares in the long term. I think I'm at like an average price of 110, maybe 95, somewhere around there. I've been holding for a while, but I don't know. I truly am convicted that Alibaba is worth a lot more than $79 that they have it at. I think the shorts got a hold of it when Chinese was collapsing, and that's just kind of the downfall of it is they're at 300, 320 bucks, just completely dwindled. They're at 80, but as you can see, their earnings down here all green. They've missed a couple times in the worst part of Chinese economics collapse, and they're still continuing to beat. And then you have the oversold, uh, not on the weekly, maybe the daily. Daily on the RSI is starting to get oversold, and then you have this support right here. So that's kind of my confluence and why I'm going in on calls. We'll wait and see, but that's just kind of the Sunday watch list I got for you guys. I didn't want to get too in depth. I didn't look at AMD actually. That's a pretty big one. Where did I put AMD? Is it still down here? Here it is. So we had that breakout of the trend. Um, it tried to retest this, and I was posting that on Discord of holding that, and now it's getting denied. So we'll see. Hopefully it comes back down and it's like comes and does like a clean retest of this area. So if it breaks below 100, that would be pretty bearish. But if it can hold 100 and continue to keep going, that'll be good. I don't really want it to get back in this range, but still the cup and handle trying to play out, work its way out. This is the daily, so it's not gonna move crazy in one day, but we'll see. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead, and let's get to this bag.